happy happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and welcome to have a good old-fashioned helping of ass. I am Adam,
And I'm Steve.
and we are a show. We do Adam Steve's show. We talk about movies. And speaking of Thanksgiving, what did you watch last in theaters?
So, speaking on that Thanksgiving word, I saw Thanksgiving, and
Mhm.
this is a movie that I have been waiting for to be made, not even really, but just hoping it would be made one day, ever since around like 2007, I want to say, when Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino teamed up to make the Grindhouse movie, where they actually made two separate movies, Planet Terror being Robert Rodriguez's, and then Death Proof being Quentin Tarantino's, but in theaters in between those, they actually had three or four fake trailers for movies. One of them being like a Edgar Wright haunted house movie, one of them being a Rob Zombie Nazi Werewolves of the SS movie, which still hasn't been made, which I really wish would be. But the two that
Mhm.
actually have been made out of there are Robert Rodriguez's Machete movie that he made with, why can't I say his name right
Danny
now?
Trejo.
Danny Trejo, obviously one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. But then there was also one called Thanksgiving made by Eli Roth, and it is basically this idea of a movie where it's just this random guy who dresses up like a pilgrim and just starts killing people around Thanksgiving, and you don't really know why, but it starts to be unveiled as the movie goes out. And honestly, it kind of has all of the classic tropes of like a 80s, 90s like horror slasher movie with a little bit of like self-aware scream stuff in there and like a who done it type thing. But I actually had a lot more fun with it than I was expecting. It's up my alley because I'm a big horror guy and I love kind of like the self-aware stuff, but all of the gore and stuff, all the practical effects, I was big on this one.
The thing that really resonated with me with what you said, because I didn't know I have Grindhouse, but I've not seen it yet. So I'll be catching that very, very soon then because you've inspired me. But the movie coming out in 2007 and this whole idea being based off of thing from 2007 makes so much sense because the thing that really took me out of this movie is Black Friday is not like that anymore, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
remember as a kid being like, ooh, like people lining up and the sales are so good that you're like camping out and it's like a madhouse in there. Like that sounded like a fun, endeavor to go and to embark upon. And now with, COVID and well, that's over for the most part. But now most of the sales are online and they're weeks earlier and there's nothing really to do in the store. And then have you seen those videos of Target, people at Target, and they'll like see the TV on sale and they'll like pull the original price from
Yeah.
behind it and it's just same price as the Black Friday price?
Yeah, I was doing that a bit myself because I did go out on Black Friday, which we'll get to my haul later in the episode. It's a little teaser
Mhm.
right there, but I was the same way. Like a few things I got really good deals on. Like I went to Best Buy and bought like five movies that saved me like $65 on this receipt that I paid like 50 for. So I was getting good deals on that kind of stuff. But yeah, like TVs, the big ticket items that are usually the ones that people are scrapping over like they were in this movie. Yeah, it just doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately. You get them on sometimes online, but yeah, a lot of times the biggest thing about Black Friday this year in stores was that some lines it took like almost 45 minutes to get through. That was about it. There wasn't anybody
Mhm.
fighting really. It was all pretty relaxed. So that was, but yeah, it's the idea from 2007. It's kind of like a time capsule in that way. And it's kind of
Mhm.
fun to reminisce because people used to be little savages like that, where people literally like shot each other over Tickle Me Elmos and crazy shit like that.
Which it was kind of funny. It just reminded me of you ever see Krampus?
Yeah, I have the Naughty Cut too,
Mhm.
which is a really fun version. But yeah, the beginning of Krampus is a whole thing.
Yeah, I know that's the Christmas compared to Thanksgiving, but that's the same sentiment that they're making fun of. This
Mm.
consumerist like oh, I have to, at any cost, at any length to save $35 on a printer or whatever. So I felt like I'd seen that done, but because that Black Friday aspect is like the whole entire like inciting its incident for this movie.
Yeah.
It's the whole opening sequence, and then everything that happens is based on that Black Friday sequence. And then we're having the debates about like, oh, should stores be open on Thanksgiving? And then this year, Walmart and Target were closed on Thanksgiving, which is
Yeah.
a good thing. I think that's a really. I do think it's interesting though, like what society picks and chooses should and should not be open. Like 7-Eleven has to be open.
Oh
People got
yeah.
to get gas. But like screw the guy who works in 7-Eleven. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty funny to think about it from that standpoint too, because the movie also has different points where they're also making that with just people like, oh, we need to be with our families and different things like that, and like the people almost, and it shows like the store owner being such a dickhead throughout it and like talking about like, oh, we have to stay open because the people need, like kind of how you were saying with the gas and like people need us, people want us up, and then all of the different protests throughout the town of even the workers that were there on that Black Friday when everything happened. And
mhm,
there's a whole lot going on throughout the movie that kind of touches back, and it's really fun to kind of, I was trying to do that guessing who was the person behind the pilgrim. I forget the guy, John whatever, John Carver. I was trying to figure out, and I was guessing, but honestly it kept me guessing in a couple of times where I was not really on the right track until toward the very end.
mhm. I feel like I knew, and I'm not really good at calling these things, but I feel like I knew, without spoiling anything, just knowing about like movies and like about the people making the movies and stuff. It's like, oh, well, it has to be that person because that stands
Yeah.
out. But no, I did think the kills were really good though. You brought up the gore earlier and the practical effects. I think that was awesome. It's definitely going for that like, oh, like I watched a press screening for this and I was like just starting to be sick and I was like in denial about it. And I'm watching this movie and I'm in a press row and there's a press behind me and everything. And this one guy behind me was having an orgasmic experience watching this movie and I'm so jealous because he was just like, oh, like, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I get it, it's gross, but like, you don't need to like let everyone know. But it is that kind of movie. You want to watch it
Yeah.
at a theater, and everyone's making the noises and
Yeah, that was my
whatever.
favorite part of my experience, honestly. Like, there weren't people being obnoxious, like kind of how you're going, but even I had a couple out loud reactions where it's like, oh, damn. I was like, it's just that kind of movie, and it's fun to experience horror and like even comedy like that. And this kind of had a blend of both in a
Mhm.
crowd like that, just to hear everyone else. And it's like a communal just experience and a fun time, honestly. And this movie kind of hits all those marks. Like, is it a perfect movie? No, but is it Eli Roth's best written movie for sure, in my opinion?
Well,
Like
that's my
I've seen,
first.
so Cabin Fever is good. It has good effects and it's creepy, but the characters are god awful. And same with Hostel, the first one. But
Mhm.
they're kind of on purpose supposed to be horrible because that whole movie is like a commentary on like post 9/11 and like American tourists being the worst fucking people ever. So it was an interesting way, and Eli Roth's not a bad writer when he wants to like make statements, but sometimes he likes the sleaze of horror and he loves, like he's a big horror historian. He has a whole show that I love to watch that's
Mhm.
literally called like Eli Roth's History of Horror. So he's definitely a student of all of the 80s stuff, and you can see it all over this movie, whether it's the characters being over the top and obnoxious, like Tim Dillon's character as the security guard who ends up running away at the first Black Friday, and his goofy ass and all of his scene that he has. And he has a
Mhm.
lot of that comedic writing in there that is known in like the 80s stuff. But yeah, the practical stuff is by far where it's the biggest height for the movie.
Mhm. Yeah, the kills are very very entertaining. I didn't care for any of the characters at all. It felt like the new Scream movies for me, where it's like, it's that same format, obviously, the murder mystery, like who done it kind of a thing, and, I just didn't really like anybody, and I will say that I did go into the movie not feeling great, so that might have impacted like, how I felt about the movie, but I gave it, like, a solid, like, 3 out of 5, like, it was fine. I think people who enjoy this type of thing will really enjoy this type of thing, because it's getting, like, everyone that I talk to about it is vaguely in that 3 to 4 star range,
Hmm.
but, like, they, like, feel passionately about it,
Oh yeah.
like, I feel like I'm the outlier there and being like, "Yeah, 3," and then everyone's like, "Yeah, it was really good, it was like a 4, yeah."
Like in my own head, I wanted to just give it the full five, but it definitely has its issues and it's a bit longer than it needs to be in a few spots and different things, but it is a solid 4 out of 5 for me. Like I had a great time with it. It was right up my alley. I've been waiting for it for like well over 10 years now, so I'm just happy it delivered. And it had even like because it was a fake trailer in 2007, some of the iconic moments in the trailer he did recreate and even faked some people out if they were big fans. But
Mhm.
you'll have to go back and watch that trailer and let me know what you think and compare the two because I would love to hear you talk about it because I don't want to spoil too much for you just so you can watch all the Death Proof and all the
Mhm.
Grindhouse stuff without knowing too much. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have it right down there, and I will be watching it soon. And I'll probably try to watch some more of Eli Roth. So I'm interested in Hostels now after your pitch.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I actually rewatched it like a month ago now, so it's interesting.
Good, good, good. Well, Thanksgiving. Let's getting some our little horror kick after the Halloween season is over. But the Thanksgiving season usually brings us a big, huge Disney blockbuster, and we've got another one. We've got two actually this month, but we're going to focus on one. The MCU. You cannot keep us down. We will continue. We will persist. Did you do your homework? Because we have the Marvels, baby, starring the star of billion-dollar movie Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. We've also got the star of Miss Marvel, the TV show on Disney Plus, Iman Vellani, and I forgot the name of Monica Rambeau, the actress. I think her name's Teyona Paris.
I want to say you are right. Yeah.
I remember that specifically because I posted a review for this movie, and I don't know if you saw it because I posted a screenshot of it. But I had someone comment, and they were like, "Yeah, I wish that the girl, like the little brown girl," they said, was more attractive, and that the black woman, well, I don't know, they've been putting quotes from black woman, but like she's obese, and I was like. First of all, are you upset that the teenage character in this movie is not attractive enough? Because I can't help you there.
Yeah.
And then also I was like, if you think Teyona Paris is obese or unattractive at all, I can't help you. I can't help you with anything.
Yeah, that's insane. Like that's just pure misogyny and just hatred of women there because this is not even a factual statement either. That's
Yeah,
so
chubby brown girl is what they referred to Miss Marvel as, and I was like, well, my nightmare is that the person who commented is actually like 16, and it's
yeah.
like, okay, it's fine then that you were attracted or not attracted to the
Yeah.
16-year-old girl, but it was like a dude,
Yeah, it
an
was like a
adult
man,
man.
a beard, a neck bearded 40-year-old man with a ponytail.
Yeah, like, oh, I didn't want to have sex with all the in this like PG-13. This movie is made for 13-year-old girls. Okay.
Oh,
And we're
yeah.
gonna, I know that having this conversation, we are both like in our 20s men. Like, this is not for us. There are 30 other Marvel movies that are directly aimed for us. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
fine that this exists. I'm going off, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it right on the head. It is not made for us. I'm a 27-year-old man. I went in there expecting to like it. The first movie, historically, we both did not enjoy the first movie. It is
We
a
watched it
mess.
together, not in the theater, but
Yeah.
at the apartment. I remember this.
Yeah, I've even purchased it. So that just shows that I'm a pure Marvel boy, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I enjoy parts of it, but for this one, I was going into it with that in head that I didn't really like the first one that much, so I'm just hoping it's good. Miss Marvel, the show, and Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. I liked her a lot. In Miss Marvel, I really enjoyed that show and her
Mm-hmm.
family, and I'm happy that they were a bit front and center more than I expected them to be in this movie, but I enjoyed them from the show and was happy to see them all again. And yeah, I think this movie was a big step up from Captain Marvel. Like it was much more of a cohesive story, but at the same time, it was just okay. Everyone's talking about it. The villain, I don't even barely remember the villain whatsoever. I remember that she was just like scorned because her home was messed up and wanted to take it out on everyone else. Like that was all her only motivation here. And Captain Marvel was the main villain who did it, even though she don't even remember it. So it's really funny. I liked the chemistry between the three girls. It's definitely like a girl sleepover movie, and it kind of nails that area perfectly. Like you watch it with your group of girls, and it's kind of like they do the montages, and it's cute. It's fun. The cat
Mm-hmm.
part when they're playing the cat song, that was adorable. I really enjoyed that part. But the weirdest part that I wasn't expecting as much is Sam Jackson just being Sam Jackson. He did not feel like Nick Fury. It was just like he's just straight up just being himself, goofing off and just having a really fun time. And I enjoyed that too. But this movie is a 100% 3 out of 5. I'm not really thinking about a whole lot of it since I've watched it, but will I watch it before I watch the first Captain Marvel again? Probably.
So I noticed earlier at the beginning you said you watched all the shows. Are there any blind spots in your MCU fandom? Like, is there anything like
Oh, I
I
haven't
haven't
watched
seen Captain
the
Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Hawkeye?
so I haven't watched the newest season of Loki yet, nor have I watched Secret Wars. Like those shows on Disney Plus, I have not checked out yet.
All right, so I'm missing both of those as well. I'm also missing. I watched half of Miss Marvel. I watched all of WandaVision. That's fine. And then I don't know what else I'm missing. I did the What If. I like that and Moon Knight and She Hulk.
Yeah.
But so as someone who has done all the necessary homework, except for Secret Wars, I guess, but I was told by other people that Secret Wars has really nothing to do with this.
Okay, yeah, I
Uh,
had no idea.
do you feel like someone has to go into this doing the necessary homework, or you can get away with not?
Yeah, I honestly think you could walk into this movie and it kind of spoon feeds you everything you need to know from Captain Marvel at the very least. But
Really?
even with Miss Marvel, like you don't need to see her show, even though I do recommend it. I think it was very fun. But you get to know her right away. I mean, even from just her bedroom set, like you get to know everything about her from the first intro of Kamala Khan. Like you
Mm-hmm.
get to know her right away. And the only thing I would say is it's good to just kind of see a little bit more of Monica's story in WandaVision a little bit, but I think everything's pretty much there. I mean, they even talk about it in their conversations to each other. They kind of fill you in all with everything. So, yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
you're just a casual fan that doesn't want to go back and watch all the MCU, but you just want to have a girls' night, I think it could easily be that movie too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as someone who didn't finish Miss Marvel, I didn't really feel like I was missing anything, and I agree. I think you could, if you only watch the movies, you could be fine going to this because they catch you up pretty nicely. I do think that that's an alienating factor about the movie, though, is that people watch this and they're like, or they see this coming out and they're like, okay, I know Captain Marvel, but who's Miss Marvel? Who's the Monica Rambeau? Especially since she doesn't have like a name. It's just Captain Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
And they have a joke about that in the movie where they're like, Captain Light or whatever. So that's all well and good. But yeah, I do think that that's like a big reason why the box office, because I picked this movie for our little box office game, which by the way, I don't know if I've conceded already, but I do. So because
I think you
this
did it, but I can't remember.
it's at 72 million domestically. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the 70 millions, and the Rotten Tomato score isn't even that good. I think it's in like the 60s, and I needed to like average like a score of 80 something, especially with Dune getting pushed back. So that's unfortunate for me.
Yeah.
Uh, but my thoughts really about the movie, because I haven't even talked about it, is I do really like Miss Marvel. It's funny because I watched half of her show. I was like, I really like this girl. And then she started being a superhero, and I was like, oh, no thanks. But I like her a lot when she's dancing to like the like John Hughesy type of music to herself, and she's just so happy. She like wants to be there. Like I don't feel like Brie Larson really wants to be there anymore, and I understand her for not wanting to be there because people are so obnoxiously rude and mean.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's really insane how awful people are treated, because like that's the most annoying thing about this movie is that the people who don't like it are so dumb. They're dumb, right? Like either A, they don't have the self-awareness to realize who the target demographic is, or B, they're just blatantly sexist or racist. So that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, your
And
comment alone kind of proves that.
oh yeah, the chubby brown girl. Oh my gosh. Like I I don't even know what to do with that, man.
No.
And like I'm happy people are watching my stuff, but stop.
Yeah, I don't
and
want you to watch my stuff.
then there's people who like the movie and are like, well, it's you guys are sexist because you guys complain about the villain in the Marvels, but she's just as bad as like Ronan or the Malekith. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
we complained about those too.
Those are two of my least favorite villains in the whole MCU. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't get it. Some people are just they want to cry for the sake of it, and it's just because it's not what I pictured in my brain, in my brain movies. And it's like, okay, dude, but if it was, you would cry about that too. If it's exactly what you wanted, you'd be like, oh, it's so predictable. If it's something that you couldn't expected, oh my God, they're doing stupid shit. I hate this, blah, blah, blah. So those kind of people are just going to be there anyway. So I say just make the best movie you can. And for their target audience, I think they kind of succeeded there.
Well, just it's just the idea of acting like we have to support this movie because it's about women and about women of color. Like that's great. I do give Captain Marvel credit because it's the first, lead female superhero in the MCU. Like that's cool. There's little girls that go watch that movie and go, "Hey, that's she looks like me," and that's great and that's special and that's important, and I'll give it credit for that. And I'd give this one credit for that as well. But I feel like we're allowed to be honest with ourselves about what we're watching as well. Like you can't just like blank because she is just Ronan. The villain is just Ronan, but like worse, she doesn't even have the blue makeup or anything. She's got the same weapon. They try to give her this like sympathetic villain story where she's like, well, I'm just you hurt my people, so I'm just trying to get my people out of this Holocaust, basically. And I don't know, she just has no personality. And for such a silly, like fun movie to have such a blank, dark, like villain is so lame.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Marvel is known for just their track record of having bad villains quite often. And this one falls right into that mix of I'm not even gonna remember her name tomorrow, really.
I don't know it now.
Yeah, yeah, I really can't even think of it right now.
I didn't know
Uh,
it when I watched the movie. I don't know her.
yeah, I mean, if they cut out all of those scenes, the movie would not change. Like, there's very little that would change because it's mainly about these three girls trying to find their powers, realizing that they're all connected and trying to get like unconnected at the same time. Like, and it's kind of through her, but at the same time, if they had someone else do it, it wouldn't change that much. And if they had someone with a bit more charisma, a bit more passion, I mean, she like delivers all of that exposition so monotonely with no real pizzazz or anything. Like that's one thing. Like if you would have even tried a little bit and thrown a little bit more in there, do a crazy voice or anything, it would change it. It would make it more memorable. But right now, it just falls into the pit of Marvel enemies that you're never gonna want to see again. Or if you do see them again, like in a post-credit scene or something, and you're like, haha, wink, wink, everyone's gonna be like, have I seen this person before? Like it's so irrelevant.
Even Jude Law in the first, because I went back and rewatched the first one and I liked it like even less because the whole like mystery backstory, like oh I don't remember, and my name is not Carol Danvers, it's Veers because of my memories and the little dog tag. None of that works for me at all. And Jude Law I think sucks, but like at least I remember the whole like are you gonna fight me and like with have like push your emotions away and prove to me that you can beat me one on one, and then she just and
Yeah.
like and then she like drags him away like that's very like on the nose like girl power stuff, but like that's fine, it's fine, it's okay that this world of 30 plus Marvel movies that we're allowed to make movies for everyone, and that's all right. It's okay if it's not your favorite. It just gets me really upset. Like the writing was on the wall. It wasn't like they were trying to convince anyone that this was anything other than what it is. I don't know why people, because I went into it like really upset. I remember like thinking I was like, oh, I'm really not going to enjoy this. I drank several glasses of wine going into the movie. They gave me a free drink, which usually means it sucks,
Yeah.
and they want you to enjoy it. And so I'm like a little tipsy. When the cats thing happened, I was ecstatic.
I
Like
figured you would be. Like I thought of you when I saw it in theaters. I was like, yeah, this is an Adam moment for sure.
everyone I talked about it, I was like, there's one moment, and you're gonna think of me, and it's great that I have influence in this very niche subgenre of thing. But I love that. I love the absurdity of it. There's actually one moment I want to bring up that I really like. So they're like saving the people, the Skrull people from
Hmm.
their planet, the refugee camp, whatever. And then the bad guy, she is like sucking the atmosphere out, and they're trying to save everyone, and everything's kind of crumbling around them. And Miss Marvel's like trying to save people despite Monica and Carol being like no. And I thought it was really interesting because like they're going away in the ship, and Miss Marvel's like, we can't just leave all these people. And then like Carol gets in her face and she's like, we can't save everyone.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah, we
just
save who
leave.
we can.
Yeah, we save what we can. And I was just like, dude, you went toe to toe with Thanos. You're telling me you can't zip zap,
Yeah, it
get
was
all these people?
it was the darkest thing I've seen since Infinity War or whatever, probably. Just because it was just like, and they zoom out and you see all the people as the planet's like burning, and they're just like are still running, and it's like they can't run anymore. They're all gonna die, and we're just gonna be like, but back to the movie.
Well, I thought it was a cool, like, don't meet your heroes kind of thing. Cause
Yeah.
like she idolizes Captain Marvel.
Oh
And
yeah.
so to see Captain Marvel not reflect the same morals, like because she clearly thinks that they can and should try to save more people. And so for her to see her hero being like, no,
Yeah.
I wish they expanded more on that, but that's one thing I really do appreciate about this movie is I feel like Miss Marvel, we talked about how Mon Vellani really wants to be here and how Brie Larson really doesn't want to be here. And that's reflected in their characters. And I think that's a great contrast of having Carol Danvers like, I have to be here. And then Miss Marvel's like, oh, I get to be here. And
Yeah.
like, it kind of brings light to Carol and it kind of brings Captain Miss Marvel down to earth a little bit more. I feel like it's just a good contrast. And then Monica's also there.
Yeah, and she's almost playing like a mediator in a way, and it's fun. Yeah, I think I wrote in my letterbox review. I think I might have said it in my video too, but I haven't edited that or anything because I haven't had the
Mm-hmm.
time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I said that Miss Marvel is almost like a fan who got pulled in and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna be a superhero now." And she acts exactly how like a fan would be like, "Oh, I'm meeting my favorite hero of all time and I'm a superhero now too." And all giddy in literally any situation, like her dancing in the middle of the crowd and everything when they're doing the musical number and the planet and all that different stuff of her just being like, "I'm just happy to be here," like you said. She
Mm-hmm.
is that epitome of, "Oh yeah, I'm finally able to be with and be in this group that I've always desired to be in, whether it's a superhero group or whatever." And she kind of almost is the fandom in a way. And it's funny to kind of see that reflected in the movie too.
Well, it reminds me of Void from Incredibles 2 and Rose from The Last Jedi. These kind of like super fan characters who in a sequel come in and they're like, "Oh, I love you so much." But I like it more here because I don't know. I guess maybe just because it's like a teenager instead of like a grown adult.
Yeah, it makes
But
more sense with a teenager because she's like idolized.
yeah, and that totally makes sense. And Iman Vellani, she's so fun and infectious. Like I'm really happy that she's getting this platform, and I can't wait to see how her career builds upon this. And everyone, oh, she's getting such good press because even as the movie does really poorly at the box office, people are like, she's like, oh well, that's for Bob Iger to worry about. I'm just happy I got to make this movie, and I had a great time doing it, and people I care about like it, and that's great. And I'm so happy for her. She does get a little cringe. Like she has this joke. It's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. Where she just like yells, like screams, "Oh my god!" And like it's funny when she sees the cat. But like there's a like and the cat does the tentacle things out the mouth and
Hmm.
she's like freaking out. That makes sense. But then there's like a moment later in the movie where like the villain has her like foot on her head, and it's a very deathly serious moment. She does the same scream, and I'm like, oh, you
Yeah.
established that as a funny thing earlier. This makes me uncomfortable now. I don't know. I like the body switching. I think that works. I mean, obviously, Captain Marvel, her whole arc is she has to learn to work with other people. So, and Captain Marvel's so obnoxiously powerful, we need to handicap her in some kind of way. So let's do this like almost like a Freaky Friday type body switching thing. We need to learn how to work together and use our powers and switch over to the other place and work in tandem. And Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, obviously was a huge like deal for her to be able to work with Captain Marvel, but like to try to elevate herself to be on their level. And then Monica Rambeau, like basically being thrust into the superhero like world now, like that she is now a part of because she has powers and stuff. So I really like that dynamic. Those fight scenes are really visually pleasing to watch, very funny as well. You brought up the family. Yeah, I thought they were funny and good. And then Sam Jackson playing himself. He's always been playing himself in this character. But yeah, here he's really just like riffing, and that's fun. It's fine. It's fine to do like a cute little fun like twinsies,
Well,
kitties.
Yeah, and the biggest compliment I can give it is it knew exactly what it was, that it wasn't one of those 2.5 hour long epics too. It was a
Mm-hmm.
crisp like 150 minutes or whatever it was, and
Two
it
hours, yeah.
didn't really feel like it overstayed its welcome too much. Like there are some movies where you can definitely feel like, oh, I could have cut out this, and this, which maybe you could cut out some parts in here and it would be a tighter movie, but at the same time, like we were saying, the audience of teenage girls or even younger women who would want to go see this and would want to make this a really fun, like date night, all group together movie, it
Mm.
nails all of that. Like it's nothing too action heavy where it would be like pushing that audience away. And but it's enough in there where it still keeps the people who want to come for the action too. Like the fighting going back and forth, I thought was pretty well choreographed. And like you were saying, them switching back and forth and having to like pick up where the other person was fighting, I thought that was all really fun and cut together quite well. And there are some good things in here, but yeah, it's very much a middle of the road Marvel. Like it's nothing to run out to if you're just watching MCU stuff for the sake of it, but I wouldn't really put it at the bottom either. Like it's not a bad movie.
I think have it as like my eighth worst Marvel movie. And I give it like 3 stars. I think it's fine. I won't rush out to go see it again. But I also like people complaining about the singing planet, and I'm just like, it's for 13-year-old girl. It's hitting the target demographic, I promise. Like that, and like there's gonna be little girls who go out and enjoy this movie, and that's fine and that's great. Like I don't know why people gotta be so annoying about it.
No,
I
I'm happy that Marvel's still brave enough to take chances every now and then because there are so many other safe movies that they've put out in the last few years that they know, hey, if we hit this, and this, everyone's going to be happy and they're all going to come back and see it a couple times. But it's fun to throw stuff in there that you're not really expecting, whether it really worked or not. That's another thing. I kind of liked it just because like I said, it was different, but I can understand why it would be like upsetting, I guess, but at the same time, it's the upsetting to those people who are going to be upset regardless, most more than likely.
And then I do want to claim credit because before the movie started, I remember I saw a TikTok days prior that was like, oh, so there's a rumor that there is a character that shows up at the end of the movie or in the credits, and they are a character from a previous Marvel movie, not necessarily an MCU movie, but it was great casting, and they were in one movie and it was bad, but they were really good casting, so we're going to bring them back. And well, I won't say it because I will, I'll leave it. But I did. I turned to my buddy and I said, "Oh, it's gonna be this guy from this show." Like I literally just said the name of the show, and I was so confident about that because he rocks. And then that mid credit scene was great. Like people are complaining about the CGI of the character. I don't care.
No, it wasn't even that bad. I mean, it's a post-credit scene. You really think they're going to spend hours and hours on something like that? No, they're going to make it look okay enough, and that's what's going to happen. If they're going to spend that much time on a fucking minute-long clip, it's useless at that point. It's wasting time that honestly a lot of these fucking people who are doing the CGI work don't get paid enough regardless for a lot of the work they're putting in. And that's kind of why a lot of the movies in Marvel lately haven't been as strong as others.
And
But
I'm
luckily they're
excited going.
unionizing.
Yeah, and I'm excited for going forward with the MCU after this movie. We got someone in space, someone in the multiverse, and someone on Earth. And oh yeah, yeah. One of the a character from the show shows up at the end, and it's like I know I didn't watch the show, but I know I'm aware. So when she shows up, I'm like, oh okay, cool, fine. I don't know. It's very easy to be cynical about this movie. It's just a commercial for their streaming service. Like they just
Yeah.
want you to do that. But that's the thing, they're kind of cannibalizing themselves because then this movie comes out and people don't realize it until it's out, and then they're like, oh well, I got to watch Miss Marvel and WandaVision and Secret Wars before I go watch this movie. And then they try to get through all those shows, and then by the time they get through all those shows, they're like, oh well, it's already been out for like a month or two, and it'll come to Disney Plus in like a month. And there's other things. There's a Hunger Games. There's a Aquaman. There's a Wonka. I don't need to waste my time going to the theater. I could just wait and watch it. It already didn't get great reviews either. It's not very popular. So let me just wait and watch this at home. So this is the equivalent of like one of those live action remakes that they put straight on, like Peter Pan and Wendy, or like Lady and the Tramp or Pinocchio. Like Like I
I
feel like
still
they
haven't
have very
watched
little
any of
faith.
those movies, and that's what's so
They're all
funny.
bad. They're all
Yeah.
terrible. Like the Haunted Mansion should have been one of those too. That was very uninspired as well. So movies suck. But we talked positively about this movie, and I'm like, well, actually, they suck. No, it's better than the first Captain Marvel. I think I put it above Shang-Chi, which I know people are gonna be like, hey, the action scenes are so cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
me actually. Yeah.
no, most people. I'm so in the minority on that movie. People love it. But I don't know. I'll see the next Marvel movie still.
Yeah, I would honestly a Miss Marvel movie. Just her in a movie. I think she's the star of this movie in a way. So, I mean, I still love Brie Larson. I think she's a great actress. I don't think, like you were saying, I don't think she's really been enjoying Captain Marvel, unfortunately, but just because fandom sucks and sexist fandom is by far the worst. But this movie was better than I was expecting it to be, but still nothing that I loved. It's a 3 out of 5 for me too, and I'll watch it again for sure. I have fun moments. Once my niece gets older, I'll probably show it to her, and she'll probably love it into her teenage years and probably really connect with Kamala Khan from what I can tell from her personality already. They seem very similar. So it's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
movie for her and maybe even for my other niece too. And that's why I really enjoy it in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. 3 out of 5. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Do anything else about the Marvels?
Nah.
All right. You watched The Killer today,
Yes, I
and
did.
that's a good movie. A really good movie. Tell me how you thought. It's fresh in your brain. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I watched this morning. I I liked it a lot. I didn't love it. I thought it was a bit of a slow burn, and I was not expecting it to be as slow moving as it was, but I did really love, especially Michael Fassbender, and the way they kind of set it up is you were almost, even with the camera movements and everything too, you're almost a character with this assassin the whole time. Like you're
Mm,
hearing his inner dialogue all the time, and you're following him around and all these missions that he's going through and all these situations that he finds himself in with this job, and it's pretty crazy. And I thought it was an like I played this game before called Hitman years ago, and I think they actually made
mm.
movies that I had never seen, but
Terrible movies.
yeah, but the games were a lot of fun, and it kind of reminded me of that because you're literally following around this guy and he's just doing things in the most despicable ways that honestly almost acting like a ghost, and it's kind of crazy. But from this perspective and the way David Fincher shoots it and everything, it's a very interesting movie. It's not my favorite Fincher by any means, but a solid 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I gave it the same thing, and I feel the same way. I feel like I really like Michael Fassbender, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed about Next Goal Wins, it was the soccer Taika Waititi movie,
Yeah.
is that he's this like cold guy here in The Killer. You know what I mean? Very cold, very like robotic, almost. Same thing as
Yeah,
Prometheus.
like
Same thing
no
as
emotions. He's
X
basically, yeah,
Men.
he almost
Yeah,
is
and
the
he's great
robot
at that
from,
character. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But here, like in Next Goal Wins, they're kind of making fun of that persona because he's just raging out the whole time, and then people are making fun of him for being like all raged out. So that's why it was really funny to watch this first and then watch Next Goal Wins. But it's very satisfying just to watch a professional just do their job really well. I mean, he messed up his job,
Yeah.
but like watching him like put the pieces back together in such a like efficient like way.
Yeah, and like even after he's done with the job, like the meticulous way that he gets rid of all the different things, and it's all just like in his head, like I do this, and it's all like planned out in a way, even though you can't really, in that job, you can't really plan too far ahead, obviously, but it's just so like robotic and like planned, or almost like he knows this is the next step, this is the next step, and he has it all in his brain. And yeah, he's like a robot. Like he just goes through the motions, no emotions. And he even says it. He has like a little dialogue that he has inside that we hear that's like, no emotions, blah blah blah. It gets in the way, makes you weak, and it's so crazy. But at the same time, it's very very interesting.
Yeah, and how did you feel about the dark humor, dry humor, and then also about the constant references to like capitalist bullshit like Amazon and McDonald's and
Oh yeah,
stuff? How
it
did you feel
definitely
about that?
it's nothing new from Fincher because he does that kind of shit a lot, like all the Starbucks references and Fight Club and different things. Like he's very anti-consumerism, different things like that. But it took me out of it a couple times where it was like almost referencing like different like almost COVID type things it felt like, or of the times in a way. Like it almost made itself a time capsule movie, but it also felt like a diary almost. Like this movie, I don't know if it's based off of a novel because I know Fincher does that a lot, but it felt very much like a book. I mean, even with the scene headings and everything being chapters, like it felt like it was based from a novel of some sort.
I'll look it up because actually I believe it is.
Yeah, and like even the dialogue at some points, like you like what I was talking about with the inner dialogue, that's what made me almost feel like it was based on a book. And the way Michael plays it almost too, it could almost be a stage play, especially with the parts with him just on his own in the room, going over his plan and everything, and like basically staking out his next target and shit like that.
It's based on a graphic novel series. And David
Hmm.
Fincher has talked about doing a second one, which I wouldn't mind. That's fine. I
Hmm.
don't know. Do you like this more than Mank?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, because they're so different. It's
Mm,
crazy. Just but I like how Mink is so much more stylized, but this definitely feels more in line with other Fincher movies, in my opinion. Like the style and everything of just how it's shot and the way it's acted in a way. It just feels very Fincher, where Mink almost feels like someone else could probably be plugged into it and make that same kind of weird movie, but this is a David Fincher movie through and through.
Do you think it'll get nominated for Best Picture?
Honestly, I don't at this moment think it will be. It's a good movie, but I don't think it's one of those movies. Now, Michael Fassbender, I would love to see him sneak in there, but I want to see Next Goal Wins too, really badly.
I like that more than your average Joe does because and my theory with Next Goal Wins is everyone hates Taika because he got overexposed and he did all the Star Wars stuff and all the Thor stuff, and oh, he made the best Thor movie ever, and then he made a Thor movie that I didn't like very much, and so now I hate him, and I just think it's Marvel babies. Like, and also, I don't think Ragnarok and Love and Thunder are too far away in quality. I'm also just not the biggest fan of Ragnarok, so
Yeah.
whatever. I actually got in trouble today or last night because I tweeted someone was talking about like how Flash is terrible, and I'm like, I bet this person loves No Way Home.
Oh
Like
yeah,
like
I
they're the
retweeted it
same
actually.
movie.
I saw it.
And
And I
like
saw all
so
the
many people are
comments under
so
below and I
upset.
was like, "Oh no." I was like, people are really mad.
But like that's I mean I struck a chord,
But you're not wrong.
but that's how I feel like people like are so Marvel fanboy pilled, and so they're overreacting. And I do think Taika like because Taika's doing this thing like in the movie where he's like rabbit teeth,
Oh
and he's
yeah.
doing a silly voice and whatnot, and he plays the priest and whatever. And it's like Taika, just go away for 5 minutes. Just stop reminding us that you exist because you're overexposed right now, and everyone's tired of your bit and your little shtick. But it's a cute movie, and like I like sports movies, and it's like cool that their goal was just one goal. Like they didn't even want to win a game; they just wanted to score one goal, and it's just showing like it's just about like how sports. Yeah, it's you want to win and you want to do well and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's about having fun and
Hmm.
being part of a team, and like that's like really what's important. And I thought it was really cute. You're not going to meet anyone who has that higher ranked than me, in my experience.
Yeah, you'll have to wait till I see it maybe because it sounds like it's right up my alley as well. Yeah, I'm excited to see that, but The Killer is quite good. If you got Netflix right now, I had to watch it on my damn phone because I'm still sharing my brother's password and they took it off my TV.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have access to it, definitely check it out.
They sent me a poster, the one where he's just, with the hat, and it's just like a long ways poster.
It's
Netflix is
fun.
awesome, dude. Netflix, I just want to champion Netflix real quick because they've sent me, I got a box for May, December. I got a box for Naiad. I got a box for Rustin. I got a poster for Nimona. I'm looking at it right now. Poster for The Killer. I got so much like
Did you get one
books.
for that Adam Sandler movie that just came out?
Oh, Leo. Actually, let me talk about that for a minute. So I watched it weeks ago. because I got it like early, like a Netflix preview, and I hated that so much
I
because
still haven't watched it.
I already don't like him, like Adam Sandler, very much, and he's so annoying. He's like doing this like bad singing voice, and I usually like bad singing, but like his is like deliberately annoying, and it's like 2 hours long. Oh no, I think it was only 90 minutes, but it felt
I
like
was
two
about to
hours.
say there ain't no fucking way it's 2 hours long.
Yeah, and it's just ugly and it's annoying and it's dumb and I hate it. Leo's probably one of the worst movies I've seen all year, actually.
You got to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey because that's my worst one of the year so
I
far.
know I'm like 20 minutes in, but I'm probably gonna restart it because it's been over a month. But
The first 2 minutes where it's that opening like book scene is the only good part of that movie, just about because the animation's
uh,
kind of cool.
well, I will see it because I'm a big Winnie the Pooh fan. But speaking of terrible, awful horror movies that I hate, um, Five Nights at Freddy's came out, and I am not a fan at all. I went to a press screening, and I was surprised by the fandom that was there. And, like people were sitting on the stairs, like this was like a big deal. People cared about this, and I know nothing about it really. And I just thought it was so counterintuitive to what the appeal of this thing seems to be. How did you feel about Five Nights at Freddy's?
I never got to see it in theaters, unfortunately, but
No, that's fine.
they did they did
Don't.
the same release on Peacock, and about 2 weeks after it came out, I finally got to watch it, and I will say I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
Mhm.
Now, I will say it's not a perfect movie by any means, but from what I know of Five Nights at Freddy's, which isn't a lot, especially from the fucking lore that exists out there, I guess, it's very deep and very wealthy, but I've played the game a couple times. I actually read a graphic novel last year, and
Mhm.
the story pretty much follows what I know of being like it's a kidnapper guy who like was killing kids and like putting them in the suits or whatever, and like all of that's in the movie for the most part. Sorry, spoilers for Five Nights at Freddy's. It's been like a month, so I really don't think we're really spoiling it for anybody. You can readily see it.
Don't watch it.
Well, I say it's a fun like I really wish it would have went harder in the horror, but it stayed PG-13 because it has such a kid audience, but and it was kind of made for that same kid audience. Like it's not really crazy horror. It's very much that PG-13 style of horror where they show a little bit, but a lot of it's sound effects and just getting skirting around the blood for the most part and different things. But I like the story. I liked Josh Hutcherson. I'm happy that fucking we got our boy back from Scream finally. He's finally in another mainstream movie. And Matthew Lillard's
Barely.
just well, yeah, I really would. And he actually is signed on for more movies at Blumhouse. So I'm hoping that they maybe go on this a little bit more, maybe because they can definitely get around certain situations. And yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I thought it was going to be a lot crazier. I didn't know it was going to be PG-13 going into it until literally I was turning it on Peacock. But do I wish it would have been a little bit harder? Like the two things that I wish I could meld together are parts of Willy's Wonderland and parts of this movie to make it into what I want it to be, which is like much grittier and crazier. But for what it is, I enjoyed it.
I love what you said about Willy's Wonderland, because I just wanted it to be Willy's Wonderland in general. Like that's what I wanted this to be. Get it? Give me a funny like B actor. I don't know. I don't want to disrespect Nick Cage, but like a silly, like memeable actor, and just put him in this place and just film it. Do stupid movie in the place and just have him beat up all the bad guys one by one, and they're all these mechanical like animatronics. They're all messed up, but it's kind of funny and it's kind of goofy, but it's like kind of scary and fucked up. And there's a lot of security cam footage. And no, this movie's like 2 hours and it's very sad. It's about trauma and like childhood trauma and like the son like, or the brother gets
Yeah,
kidnapped, and then his daughter, he's trying to keep custody of his daughter
the
from his
sister.
aunt or sister, whatever, from the aunt who wants her for the money. And it's just this miserable. And then he's like miserable. He's an asshole, the Josh Hutcherson. And like, why make such a downer movie? I mean, I know it's baby's first horror movie. Like, there's very little that's actually scary about this movie. Except I like the animatronics because I feel like that was the hard thing when making this movie was making the animatronics believable and
Yeah.
being
And
working, you
shouts out to
know.
Jim Henson Company who did all that stuff and made all those puppets look so damn good.
Oh, they're
It
great.
they was all really fantastic, but I kind of like the fact that they had more to the story. Like, yeah, I wanted more of the crazy killing, crazy animatronic, crazy stuff, but I like that there was a bit more of the story and what they're doing here. I don't know how familiar you are, but there are like 5+ games of Five Nights at Freddy's and a bunch
No.
of comics and a bunch of crazy stuff like that. So what they're doing here is if they would have done what you wanted, I don't think they would have been able to do what they want to do, which is make this whole franchise, which I know it's not a great thing, and Universal really just wants to basically franchise this and make as much money as they possibly can, but that's the
Mhm.
plan. So they're not going to blow their load right away. And I think they're going to continue, and hopefully, if they do continue these movies, let's focus more on the more of the scarier stuff now that we got all the unloading of the story out of the way. Like a lot of times
Mhm.
part twos of different horror series are kind of my favorite because you got the lore out of the way and then you can just run right in like Friday the 13th part two. That one is a
Mhm.
lot of fun because they don't have to set up Jason a lot. You already know a lot about Jason, so they just run right in and just start killing motherfuckers. And I
Mhm.
hope they do that with the next one, but who knows?
I love the sentiment that you gave, where it's like they don't want to do what you want them to make one good movie.
Yeah,
They want to make five bad ones so
that's
they
just
can make
horror.
more money. And I don't know. I it's fine.
It's
I
the
had an
studio
epiphany.
system.
I literally it came to me in a dream. It was beautiful, where I realized the best version of this thing, and it's owned by Universal, right? So why not? Why not do a theme park? Not a whole theme park, but like a section in a theme park where you go to Five Nights at Freddy's and you get in like a Winnie the Pooh esque kind of ride, haunted mansion, whatever, and you go through, and there's the animatronics. They're animatronics. God damn it! Like it's right
Oh
there.
yeah.
It's so easy.
I
And
I
it's
will
really
be
quick. It's 5 minutes, like, and then you could go to the store. They could have an arcade. They can have the animatronics up there and singing their stupid song, and like,
yeah.
that's perfect.
I it would be brilliant, and I would be shocked if that's not a Universal horror like house in the next year when it comes to horror nights. But yeah, they should definitely do that. It would be insane not to at this point. Even doing like how people do like pop-up restaurants, if they did like a pop-up Five Nights at Freddy's thing, they would
Mhm.
make so much fucking money on that, something like that. It's just
Right,
it's
they had
in
the Exorcist Believer at Halloween Horror Nights, but
yeah,
not Five Nights at Freddy's. The fuck are we doing? It made me so mad. I hate this movie. It's so dumb. I don't know. I'm being a hater. I'm definitely being a hater on it. But I think that that would work a lot better than what we had, because I can't even imagine like kids like enjoying this. It's such a sad, boring
you
movie.
would be surprised. I've been seeing it all over the place where like I spend some time on Facebook and I like to look around at comments, especially on Facebook, because they make me laugh. But on posts about Five Nights at Freddy's, there were so many people that were like either taking their children to go see it in theaters or like rewatching it for like the 50th time on Peacock or something. So like
Mm.
young children, I think they just like because it's not like bloody and just like in your face scary that they still like just the little bit of jump scares that they get from it. So because it's not as intense, I think that's why it has that audience. And I think it did well enough in the box office too that
Oh yeah.
they're probably gonna make a few more at least. So
Oh, it's the
and
highest grossing horror movie of the year.
a lot of it had to do with that young audience, I think, because it was such like, and a lot of it had to do with I mean, they included the people who made it big on YouTube, like Matt Pat. He was like a guy who always talked about game theory stuff on YouTube, and he's literally like a waiter in the movie. And I can't remember. I think somebody said that
The
another YouTube.
taxi.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
because people are
remember.
like cheering in the movie, and I'm like, who? Who
Yeah,
is this? And then people
it's
are
the people who kind
cheering.
of made the games as big as they are, so they had to include them in the movie, and it's fun, but that's mainly where the audience came from, and I think that's why this is going to be such a huge thing, especially as the years continue. I mean, like I went to like one of those Halloween stores this year too, and there were so many different costumes of it too. And I was like, the movie came out like a couple weeks ago, but because those games are so huge, I think they've been around for like 5+ years now. So they just continue to grow and grow. And it's gonna be a huge thing, but I just hope the quality gets a little bit better.
It's not lost on me that it's popular. I'm at the theater every weekend. I'm well aware that there are
Is
many
it
people
still
going to
selling
see. Oh
tickets like
yeah.
into
Oh,
November? Oh,
oh yeah, it's doing really well, and
interesting.
people are enjoying it, and that's fine. I don't know. It's whatever. But my idea, I because I would like a sequel. Let's try it again. But here's what I want, and I know they won't do it. So one of my favorite things about Five Nights at Freddy's is I like the creepy techno music that they do. I mean, the animatronics sing, don't
Hmm.
they? So let's do a musical for the second one, kind of like how Joker Part Two is like a musical. Not like your traditional like Disney musical where we're singing, and there's like an "I Want" song and blah 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 whatever. Like do like a horror esque, type of musical where we are allowed to use these songs throughout the movie because that seems like a large appeal to this franchise. So I think that that would be like a fun, like center each of the like character, each of the like animatronics has their own song that they sing or whatever.
I like the idea. I don't know if it's gonna be a universally loved idea because people
It
just
won't.
don't
It
love
won't.
musicals lately, but
Mhm.
personally, I think that sounds pretty fucking cool. But
But there's a lot of original music for this franchise. Yeah, I even have one of this "Join Us for a Bite." I'm like, yeah, that's like I like this like kind of creepy, like slowed down kind of, but like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but I just think it's that like there was an original song in the credits of the movie. I can't emulate it at all, but that's my idea. I'm not a fan. I'm old. It's made me feel really, really old. And it's so easy to see through this movie and like, oh, well, we have to have Josh Hutcherson because you got to get the people who were fans, teenagers when the Hunger Games movies came out because now they're in their 20s. And then we want to get Matthew Lillard in there because we want people who grew up with Scream and Scooby Doo. So that's the early 2000s and the late 90s. So now the 30 and 40-year-old audience is nostalgic for this movie. And then, of course, we have the teenagers because that's who this movie's for. So now instead of just having a movie that's for 13 to 17-year-olds, you have a movie that's available for 13 to 45-year-olds. And it's really brilliant marketing.
I'll
Like
say it's
I'm in
that's your
awe of
money
it.
market right there is 18 to 45, really. So they're hitting it.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's just embarrassing. Like that. I don't know. Matthew Lillard's not even in it. Josh Hutcherson sucks. There's a reason why he's not acting anymore very much. Well, he's in that Beekeeper movie.
I have no idea what you're even talking about. So
David Ayer's Beekeeper with Jason Statham. It's like an action thing.
I
It comes
still
out soon.
still have no idea.
It's not worth noting. But yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's. I am not a fan. I unsubscribe, and I hate that it came out in Peacock. I think that's terrible.
Yeah, I don't it's not my favorite of the year by any means, but I had a lot of fun with it and I welcome more.
Yeah, it will be on my like because it's funny whenever I make my bottom 10 of the year, which I hate when people are like, movies are great, making a bottom 10 list is so hateful, and it's like, well, they make better movies, idiot. And like I don't know. They're not going to see and they don't care and whatever. And like, but it's so hard when I'm making a bottom 10 and people are I'm like, well, there's these like small movies. Like I watched Bad CGI Gator. I had to review it for Disappointment Media. That sucks. But I don't want to put it on a bottom 10 list because of course Bad CGI Gator sucks. Like I'd
Yeah, that's
rather,
and a lot of times
dish on these popular movies that are bad.
I'll rate those movies on a curve sometimes too. Like Blood Rage, which I just got on Vudu. It is a Thanksgiving slasher movie. Is it a 4-star movie? Realistically, no, it's like a 2-star movie, but I rated it a 4-star movie because that's how I liked it. I like how silly and weird it is and how bad it is and low budget. Like a low budget movie can really only be so good unless it's made by someone at a higher caliber. If it's some first time filmmaker, yeah, it's gonna be shit, but sometimes those movies are the most fun to watch. So yeah, you don't want to rate things on a curve, but actually this year I probably will have a bottom 10 list too, because I have tried to keep a ranking. It's not like hugely public unless you follow me on Letterboxd, but I have a ranking on there that I try to keep up with the 2023 releases. So I might have one, but yeah, movies like that, you always have to rate them on a curve. You don't really want them at the bottom because they're not they're bad on purpose sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not gonna put bad CGI Gator there. I'll put a movie that's actually trying, like Five Nights at Freddy's, on there, and then that's fine.
Or Winnie the
Um,
Pooh, Blood and Honey, because that's why it's at the bottom of my list because they were trying to do something and failed on all accounts. But I digress.
but I support that subgenre. Okay, I think because
Hey,
that's good. Like
most of the time I do too.
When Mickey Mouse becomes public domain, I want a Mickey Mouse like bastardization too. Like, good. We need to show that these things can be fucked with. Okay.
But when you see it, it's like not even Winnie the Pooh, and that's the part that's the saddest too. It doesn't look like Winnie the Pooh or Piglet. Like the Piglet person is literally just like a pig mask.
So the bear doesn't wear a red shirt.
No, I don't. I think he wears like a flannel shirt or something.
Does he like honey?
He kind of.
Those are my that's the criteria that
But
I
but
follow.
he doesn't only wear a shirt. He wears like overalls too. Like it's not playing to the actual thing, you know? He's not
I'm
actually
sure
Winnie the
it's
Pooh in
bad.
it.
The Grinch one was also bad. I'm sure
I've
this
heard
is
that one's fun
the
though. This one's
mean
not even
one.
fun.
The thing that bothered me about the mean one is he's not the mean one. You're a mean one. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. And I'm so mad. Oh, that's another thing. Stupid nitpicks. So Thanksgiving bothered me, right? Because that took place in modern day, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, they had prominently put up in their store a Russell Wilson Seahawks jersey, and it wasn't like a clearance section or anything that I could tell. And I'm like, and the movie took place in like November of 2022, I'm pretty sure. And that was after Russell Wilson got traded to the
Yeah, what are they
Denver
gonna do? Put up a
Broncos.
fucking Geno Smith jersey? No one even has
Yes.
those.
Well, I was just mad. I was like, no, you can't do. Well, I like sports jerseys. Like when I watch 80 for Brady, the entire because fuck that movie. The entire time I'm just like noticing, like even the four women had different Tom Brady jerseys, but they were trying to be like this. It was like, oh, close enough. And I'm like, well, this one's different from this one. And then seeing in the crowd which jerseys they choose to have, because I like doing that when we went to sporting event. We went to sporting event at the Detroit Comerica Park, and like the entire time I'm just like, ooh, 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 like I like
Yeah,
jerseys. They're fun, you know.
they're tons of fun. Yeah.
All right. So any other movies that we want to talk about before we wrap up this episode here?
Now, let's first, I want to go over all my Black Friday movies.
Ooh.
So I'll start my pile. I have like 11 of them, but this is the starting of my pile is a bunch of used ones. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and like a special edition thing.
Oh,
Pretty
I
cool.
watched that for the first time recently. A lot of rape.
Yeah. David Fincher. Pretty
Do
cool.
you like that more than you like The Killer?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I like The Killer more. The girl with the dragon tattoo was very, very dark and very unsettling, which is
I'm a,
good. It was trying to be. It's just not my tea, you know.
yeah, I'm a big Daniel Craig guy. That's probably the only reason. Haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen this yet, but Pacific Rim Uprising, the sequel.
I've never seen it, and I never will. You can't make me.
Well, it was $6, and I think I got it actually cheaper on Black Fridays because they were like buy one get one.
Mm-hmm.
I got a PlayStation recently, so I got a bunch of 4Ks now. I got PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Godzilla King of Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, are you gonna watch the Godzilla -1 movie coming out here soon, or the Monarch show?
Yeah, I haven't started Monarch, but I'm going to this Halloween trilogy with the three of the worst Halloweens.
I
Well,
hate the
H2O is
Halloween
not that bad.
franchise because you can't just buy the collection. It's like
You
spread
yeah, yeah,
out.
you can some places, but they're fucking really expensive.
Yeah, because I own
Uh,
the same type of thing, like a 3 movie collection like that, but it's in the middle of the franchise.
yeah. Johnny English Strikes Again. That's the
I
third.
didn't even know there was a first one.
This is the third one. I actually saw this one in theaters when I lived in Florida, and it was the first one I ever watched. But that one was brand new in the plastic for $6, and a lot of people don't like it, but I like it. It's pretty silly. But okay, starting at Best Buy stuff now. The Mist.
I like The Mist. I love a good fuck you movie, and that's a
Yeah.
good fuck you
And this
movie.
has this has like the black and white version too, and a bunch of different versions. It's like 4 disc collector's edition. And it was like 10 or $11 or something.
Mm.
Creed 3. I like how they're
Oh, I
not
got
putting
Creed 3 as well.
they're not putting
Oh.
Jonathan Majors on the cover, which I find funny.
I put most of mine into my collection, so like I can't really like pull them out, but I did get plenty of good stuff. Sisu was good.
Sisu, I haven't even seen this yet, actually.
Oh, it's fun. It's like a fun like John Wick, but like in World War II. It's just an old man
I'll
in
say
World
it's like a
War
Nazi
II
killing
trying to
guy. It's the only
avoid
thing I
pain.
really know
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. That I love.
The
I
unbearable weight
love
of
that.
massive talent. Love it too. And then this one I actually got at Target for like $11.
I
Fast
that's on the
X.
way. That comes tomorrow with the Flash.
And then this one you don't even know about yet because I actually got it as a Christmas present yesterday. A steelbook of Howl's Moving
Ooh.
Castle, Studio Ghibli movie, which I read the book earlier this year and it's really good. And this movie's pretty good too.
That's the one where Christian Bale is sexy.
Yeah, it's Christian Bale, and then like I think Josh Hutcherson like voices a younger kid in it because it's older. And then I think Billy Crystal actually is in it too. He's like a little
Uh,
fire guy.
yes, yes. And I'm a big Billy Chris. I actually bought City Slickers recently, so I'll be
I haven't
working with
seen
him.
that, but I want to.
He wears a Mets hat on the cover, and I
Hmm.
like the Mets. So
So yeah, but that's what I got. Pretty good stuff. Oh yeah, and the other day I actually got the Steelbook of Cabin in the Woods and Bob's Burgers on Blu-ray.
the
That's something
movie,
else. Yeah.
I forgot about that movie. That was so recently too.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
so I loved that it was a musical.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah, I got the
appreciate
whale
that as
too.
well. I want to get that, but I would have to get it from Best Buy, and then but there's not much else from Best Buy I want. Like there's $11 for like Wakanda Forever. I think they're out of Banshees and the Fableman, so it's like why
Yeah,
even?
I went there to get Bo was Afraid and I couldn't find it on 4K. I was really upset.
So you went to the store.
Yeah, I went to Target and on Black Friday. Yeah, I went to Target and Best Buy, and then I got some other stuff like a new jacket at Dunham's and different things like that. But yeah, I got a
Mhm.
bunch of shit, and I got actually I'll have to show it to you later. Actually, if I'll send you a picture. But it's Thor Love and Thunder, the big huge like boat ship that they have pulled by the goats. I got a
Mhm.
Lego set of that for like $30.
Oh, good, good, good. I also did some Black Friday shopping. I'd have to go from memory here, but I got Megan, Super Mario Bros, Knock at the Cabin, Creed 3, Barbie, Tar. Did you ever see Tar?
Yeah,
Okay, good. Tar. Oh my God, I gotta like look behind me. Cocaine Bear,
I didn't get
Black
Cocaine
Adam,
Bear.
Black Phone, Shazam 2, No Hard Feelings, Nope. I got a lot of stuff. I did a lot of like Target had like a buy two get a third one free. Plus my mom works there, so I get 15% off of that.
Hell
And
yeah.
then Walmart was a big go to one for me. And then yeah, Best Buy. Well, they're not going to sell physical media anymore, so fuck them.
Yeah, I
But
only
I
got a
do a
little
lot
bit
of
there, but
Friday
it
shopping.
their section is already just shrinking and shrinking. It's so sad. But the
Mhm.
ones I was looking for that I couldn't get a hold of was like I couldn't find Saw X really in store anywhere. It was like just out completely, even though it wasn't even on sale. It was just out. And
Mhm.
uh Mission Impossible, couldn't really find any of that anywhere. The newest
Mhm.
one. I can't remember. There was another one I was looking for that like almost every store was just like out of them. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Black Friday is not what it used to be. But alas, movies are still great, and we're loving movies. We're watching movies. We will be back soon, probably within the month.
Hopefully sooner rather
And
than later.
what are some movies you feel like you're going to get to in the next month? Because I'm like caught up. I'm pretty caught up right now. Like the Holdovers is the only thing, and Trolls is the only thing in theaters that I haven't gotten to.
Yeah, I'm behind on so much shit. I want to see the new Hunger Games. I actually bought the book on Black Friday too, but I probably won't see that in theaters. I'm also reading Killers of the Flower Moon because I still haven't seen it yet. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm hoping I can get out to the theaters and check out. I don't even what's even coming out in the next few weeks.
Well, I have seen Wish. That's a big one.
I probably
Um,
won't see that.
I have so much to say. Then I'll say a little bit about it.
Go
It
ahead.
it
Yeah.
blows. It
Yeah. That's what I've
blows.
been hearing. That's why I'm like, I don't even really want to run out to see that one because my time is so limited now with this new job. So if it's
Mhm.
not up to par and it's not something I'm eager to see, it's not going to be seen in theaters anyway.
I don't blame you. I mean, I think it's a good one to watch with the niece on Disney Plus. But there's not really much that's going to be there for you. The musical aspect of the movie is terrible. There's a villain song, but like it's not a very good one. And the villain's probably the best part about the movie, which is sad because he's not very good. The movie's like really annoying. It's very derivative. Alan Tudyk should be in jail. Like I know he's like Disney's little golden boy, and they throw him in all their little things. But here he's like this goat, and my butt found it. Like, shut up. He's so
Yeah,
annoying in it, and I
I
really
love
hated it actually.
I love Alan Tudyk and almost everything not Disney. Like in Tucker and Dale versus Evil, love him in that. And like
Mm-hmm.
Dodgeball as Pirate Steve, he's great. But in these Disney movies, he almost like goes too low to the point where I'm like, he's just there for like, ha, fart joke, ha, he's the guy, he's doing the silly voice, let's all
He's the
laugh.
guy.
And it's
Yeah,
kind of sad because like he's so much better than that.
it's really unfortunate. The animation style is trying to do this like emulating 2D animation thing, but it just makes it look cheap. Like there's a you might be able to help me out with this. Your niece might watch the show. So there's a princess show. She's like red. She has a lot of red. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what
Oh,
it is, but that's what it kind of looks like a straight to TV like Disney Channel show.
yeah.
And it's like really unfortunate that Disney has sunk this low. I don't even think this should be nominated for best animated feature. Like
I think
Nimona,
Elena of
Spider
Avalor, I think
Verse.
is what you're thinking of.
That sounds correct.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, TMNT, Elemental, and then oh crap, I forgot. I need one more. Give me one more animated movie that's good, please, please,
Spider-Man.
please. Yeah, no, Spider-Man,
Oh,
TMNT,
sorry.
Elemental, um, even Troll. I haven't seen Trolls, but even that, like, fine, give it to
Yeah.
me. Migration's going to be coming out.
Nimona.
Yeah, Nimona. Yeah, Nimona. That was one of the
Oh,
four. I need one more. We just need one more. We got to stop Disney because like they didn't nominate Frozen 2. You know what I mean? So it's possible to not
just
get
nominate Mitchells
nominated.
and the Machines again. It deserves it.
But yeah, so yeah, you said you're gonna watch Hunger Games, not gonna watch Wish. There's some other good stuff out. Saltburn, I just watched that. I recommend it.
Look
That's
real
probably
quick.
one you won't catch in theaters though. May, December, that'll be on Netflix soon with Maestro. I heavily recommend both of those as well.
Oh yeah. So
Um,
should I go see Napoleon? Because I know it's long, but I want to see it.
it's a comedy. I want you to know that because my brother watched it and was like, oh, it was dumb. And I'm like, well, because we watched it in theaters and there's like 50 people in the theater. Me and Lauren are laughing and no one else is laughing. And we're like, but it's so funny.
I was not expecting you to
it's,
say it's a comedy at all.
well, they're kind of like making fun of him because he's like a little dork boy, you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, I recommend seeing that. I recommend seeing everything. I love everything so much.
That's always what I try to do, but
But yeah,
I
we'll
feel
be
like this.
back. We'll be back very, very soon. Steve, any final closing thoughts that you want to talk about?
Nah, go see movies. See all the movies you can. It's the holidays, so watch some holiday movies. I've already started some of my watches. I watched Home Alone 2 a couple days ago. Watch a lot
Mm-hmm.
of watch horror movies around Christmas. There are so many out there. I've recommended them before. Black Christmas, the
Silent
original
Night's
one.
coming out.
Yeah, and the Silent Night from 2006 too is actually not a bad one. Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's a remake of that.
Mm.
But there, yeah, Silent Night. That's the guy? Oh, what's his name from like the Suicide Squad movies?
Joel Kinnaman,
Joel
Jai
Kinnaman, I think, is
Courtney.
in that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then well, there's a Silent Night that came out a year or two ago with the kid, the Jojo Rabbit kid,
Oh
that I
yeah.
actually really liked a lot as well. But I'll be watching. My big priority this Christmas season will be to sit down and actually watch It's a Wonderful Life because I don't think I've actually done that.
Yeah, me neither. I gotta watch like that. I got White Christmas on like VHS this year because I've been collecting a bunch of VHS stuff. So I'm gonna try to
Mm.
catch up on some of those classics too, like Miracle on 34th Street. Never seen anything like that. So I have a lot of classics to catch up on.
Good, good, good. Well, check out our videos, please. I am Adam from Hard Reviews. I'm also on Letterboxd, Adam Ryan 03. I love movies so much. Steve, where can we find you?
So the film fan reviews haven't uploaded in a while, have videos recorded, but been working a lot lately. Finally got a job, so those will come out soon enough, but find me on Letterboxd, still logging stuff on there. My name, I think all the links, I'll put them in the description and everything like that. But yeah, check out all our stuff. We're keeping up on movies as well as we can, but definitely watch Adam's closer because he's watching stuff way more often than I am.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you guys so much. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, everything else, and have some ass, baby.
Yeah.